Welcome to Mind Over Matter, a program about making the most of our minds and why they matter. I'm your hostess, Nicole, and today's topic will be on stress. We feel it, we know it, we come in contact with it every day of our lives. Sometimes stress is good, other times not so much. We try our best to avoid it, but somehow, some way, there it is. For the next couple of minutes, I invite you to come with me on a journey of understanding about stress and the effects it has on the body, mentally and physically. We will hear from 3 guest speakers. The first speaker is Dr. Sumitra McFall, an assistant professor and assistant dean of class here on the campus of Savannah State University, as well as Dr. Gardner Martin, a full-time professor of psychology of class, and then Ms. Jackie Pinckney, a Savannah native with a first-hand experience with stress.
So stress in and of itself is really a good thing. It's usually your body's response to something that's happening in the environment, and it's designed to help to keep you safe. Neurochemicals associated with stress, for example, adrenaline, cortisol, if those things continually flood your body, that's when you start to experience the negative symptoms associated with stress. It could be headache, it could be stomach upset, it could be anxiety, those kinds of things. And that's what occurs when you're experiencing chronic, long-term stress. That means you're not alleviating at any point or any length of time whatever those stressors are in your life.
Now that we've heard from Dr. McFall, we will hear from Dr. Gardner Martin.
Initially, I like to make a statement about stress. And this statement is from a very famous psychologist. And he says that the maintenance of life, maintaining life, is critical or critically dependent on keeping the internal milieu, the internal aspect of you, whether it's the physical or the mental, constant in the face of changing situations. Most of us, from an Afrocentric perspective, we tend not to seek help until we're in desperate need of it.
So far, we have heard from our 2 professionals about stress from an academic point of view. Now we will learn the experience from a personal level. Ms. Jackie Pinckney will explain to us about where she is now and how she's gotten there, and explain to us why she's writing her book.
What motivated me to seek help was when I went to my doctor, and my doctor told me that I was depressed, and I did not believe him. So he referred me to a psychiatrist, and I didn't want to go because as a person of color, I felt like people would tease me and call me crazy. But then I realized that I was really and truly depressed because I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to do anything, and I would just take the disposable razors that you use just to get hair off of you. I would take those and literally dig it into my flesh and cut myself up. Then take a towel or a washcloth and rub that area until it becomes raw. It's nothing but white. I leave from one area, go to the next area, and keep on going until my whole body is just about raw. That's how I dealt with my stress. It wasn't fun. That's what really, when my doctor told me I needed help, that's when I seeked it, after he pushed me into the arms of a psychiatrist. I had some personal things that I was dealing with in my life. I was in college to get my degree as a teacher. We had a severe car accident, and my doctor told me I could no longer, I was a paraprofessional with Chatham County Board of Education. He told me I could no longer work due to the car accident. I could no longer go to school, and I was having family issues with my husband. And all of that happened within weeks of each other, and it caused me to go into this deep down depression that I just could not, that I didn't know I was in, but I was really in.
What did it feel like?
It felt like it felt like somebody was just holding me down. I didn't have a brain. It felt like I loved. It felt like everything I did was wrong. I didn't want any contact with people. I didn't want any contact with my children. I didn't want any contact with nobody. I just wanted to be by myself in this little, I had my own little world that I was in, and I wanted to be there. And as time went on, my little world got to the point where I became a self-mutilator because of the depression and because of the stuff I was going to do with my husband. I took it all out on me. So I started self-mutilating. The stress that I felt was that I no longer had a job. I no longer could get my degree in teaching. I'm a black person, and black people don't go to psychiatrists. I mean, because I didn't want to tell anybody that I was having these problems, because I thought my family members would laugh at me, call me crazy, because they stereotype people so much, and I thought they was going to say, you crazy, you don't, especially my husband. I just did not want to feel like I need a psychiatrist. I'm like, I'm black, I don't need a psychiatrist, I got Jesus, what I need a psychiatrist for? But I did, because it was overwhelming for me. About 6 months before I really seeked help, I was at rock bottom. I didn't drink, I did not smoke. It was just that my mentality was gone. And if you want to be delivered from what's going on in your mind, you gotta let people know about it. Because if you never had a self-experience with mental illness, I couldn't tell anybody else about it. And because I know how black people think, nobody wants to talk about it. Everybody is like clammed up when it comes to mental illness. But I tell people because I want them to numb it, because there's so many young people that I've talked to, spoken to, that come to our house that's going through mental illness and on the brink of suicide because they don't know how to deal with the stress of life. Young people especially that got so much to go through. They got school, some of them, just so much stuff in this world that these young people go through that they don't know how to cope. That's why they do what they do. That's why they do the suicide, because they feel like they can't talk to anybody. If I didn't go through stuff myself, didn't go through the things I went through, I couldn't tell anybody about it. And I love talking to young people because it makes me feel good to let them know that you don't have to go that way. I don't have to hurt myself to cope with stress, because it's just like an alcoholic or drug addict. I'm doing this, but whatever I'm stressed about is still there. So one day at a time. And that's how I live it, one day at a time.
One day at a time. That's all we can do, one day at a time. So the next time you come in contact with a situation that makes you want to kick into full gear, take a step back and remember what we discussed today. I hope that this program has influenced your understanding of stress in some way, that if you need help, you will seek it, or if you are juggling too much at the moment, you take a step back and view your priorities. Regardless of what you choose to do, always remember you are in control. In the words of Sidney J. Harris, the time to relax is when you don't have time for it. Thank you for listening.